beauty as a form of art, as a bright phenomenon in the world. Painting, watercolor, graphics, sculpture, art and crafts in the program Kazart. In today's program, artist-narrator Vyacheslav Liu-Ko masters fantasy world. Return to the tree. Dialogues with the greatness. There is an artist, philosopher who lives in our country. Each of his paintings is an open book which can be read and reread again and again. And the thoughtful reader will see on the canvas wonderful images, realistic and fantasy, explicit and allegorical. And there are 2, 3 or more meanings in each image. The artist's name is Vyacheslav Liu-Ko, and he needs no introduction. His name has long been known among art historians and connoisseurs, collectors and art patrons. And his works are kept in private collections in Kazakhstan, Russia, Germany, the USA, Canada and Turkey. The other day I got acquainted with the artist. Then I received as a gift a remarkably made illustrated album. And it was a complete surprise to me. I realized that he is an artist of such a planetary scale, because the whole of European painting, the whole Oriental painting are so intertwined in it. And some secret signals of eternity come from his work. To my mind, he is a pride for Kazakhstan, for Almaty. We should be proud with such an artist. We have to seek the opportunity to see the original. I am personally incredibly glad that I have an author who I am really envy and believe that he is just an outstanding artist of our time. Vyacheslav was born in 1963 in Murmansk. He did not stay long in the city beyond the Arctic Circle, on the coast of the Barents Sea, surrounded by a grey sky, cold waves and iron wrecks of ships. He moved to his grandmother in Anapa, to the warm Black Sea, strewn with the shells of sand under the curly foam of the surf. And echoes of those distant childhood memories we see in the works of the master. Boats, schooners and ships, one of the artist's most favorite images. That's just the meaning that the sea image hides, is much deeper, richer and more symbolic. This picture is called And the Ship is Swimming, and this is the exact name of the film Fellini, and we understand that this is a picture parable. In general, the format of the parable picture is a favorite format of Liu-Ko, and we see this ship as an image of humanity. And we see that this ship has neither helmsman nor a forward-looking person. People who live on it do not even imagine that they are swimming and do not think about where they are going. They just spend their lives looking for some pleasures, looking for a holiday, looking for themselves maybe, but they do not see the whole outer world, the waves around them. And it seems to me that this is also such a capacious image of modern humanity. Bruegel said about the same in the 15th century, but unfortunately, mankind has changed a little since then. The future artist was brought in Almaty at the age of 6 years. Here he began to live with his mother, an adopted father of Chinese descent. That's how he received his unusual surname. I lived in a Chinese family. The Liu family name is written through the hyphen Liu-Ko, by the name of the founder of the dynasty. Surname is Liu, and the added Ko. You know, Russian people like to call in their own way. He was called Koля. The family name was changed to Liu-Ko. At a genetic level, I have no relationship with the Chinese. See, I don't look like a Chinese, only a surname, because I was adopted. And to this day, Vyacheslav is a connoisseur of Chinese cuisine, knows how to cook himself and perfectly treats chopsticks. But the main and constant passion of Vyacheslav Liu-Ko is books. After he barely learned to read, he began to greedily read books, absorbing page by page. As a child, these were fairy tales. In his youth, Latin American literature. Now the myths of peoples of the world and encyclopedias. He could become a brilliant writer, but he preferred to compose his stories with brushes and paints. Thus the artist was born. This is because I did not enter the military school. My father tried to send me to the military school. I did not go there. He said go wherever you want. And I walked past the art ground and saw that there is no mathematics. Everyone wears ragged jeans. And I decided that this place suits me. Before the institute, I did not do anything. I did not know at all that I would do it. I got to the institute like this, a pure, uncomplicated mind. After the artistic and graphic faculty of the Kazakh Pedagogical Institute named after Abay, he worked as a decorator in the Lermontov Drama Theatre. I taught at the institute, at the same time at school, but it's not much. I went to work somewhere during 3 years only, so my work record book finished there. Then I went to St. Petersburg and worked there and exhibited. That's where I realized that I would always do it. And now, for more than 30 years, Vyacheslav Liu-Ko is an art. His work is multifaceted, metaphorical, philosophical. At first glance, the works seem to be illustrations of magic books, which is about past and present and future, myth and reality, dreams and fears, and time, and the world seemed to be turned upside down. But the artist-writer is partly spontaneously given to the waves of his own imagination. On closer examination, we understand that all of the encrypted allegorical works are carefully verified and thought out. They tell us about the world around us. As in the picture called God Sleeps. This is a point of view. It is a philosophy of a deism, about God created this world and then forgot about it. It is very relevant in our time. It still begins in the early 20th century. Yes, the world has an author, a God, an artist, but he forgot about us. And now the world is developing chaotically, completely according to its own laws. And so look at God and humanity separately. Humanity has gone into virtual reality because people are all chained to their screens, to their gadgets. And here there are many symbols. Sacrifice. Here it is a sheep, which is a sacrificial animal, or some sort of a garbage can where everything is mixed. Humanity is just moving toward it. There are many more puzzles, and these are much encrypted, as if written text. His painting often resembles writing, I would even say letters, such ancient writings. In addition to the sense that is contained in each work of Vyacheslav Liu-Ko, connoisseurs enjoy the graphic beauty of his paintings. Each picture of him is so organized, as if it is an ancient miniature of the East. It is flat, and it is so laid out by separate patterns, but from these patterns, the whole meaning is formed. You can find it individually. Well, for example, here, we see a tree, a snake, and a nest, and on this nest, there are eggs and a bird. This bird is not simple. It is a bird woman. Maybe it is bird phoenix, and maybe the bird Gamayan. And we see how one character shoots this bird, and another watered the tree, and from the opposites, from the struggle of this evil and good beginnings, our the world is formed, and Vyacheslav Liu-Ko feels it very well, and he is able to transfer it in very ciphered way. And even the ornament that he devises, he himself comes up with all these graphic motifs and ornaments masterfully, so much that his imagination seems inexhaustible. And in the ornaments too, you can see not only the leaves, but also some dragons, birds, fish, a whole world invisible to us. This is not our world, not real, not external, but some inner, literary world can be. The worlds portrayed by Vyacheslav Liu-Ko are fascinating. Before each work, one wants to stay, study and observe. In his career, the master held 18 personal exhibitions, took part in dozens of collective exhibitions. And every time his work aroused great interest among audience. Someone finds in them a resemblance to the great masters of the past. Others note the relevance and topicality of the images created by Vyacheslav. Others decipher his canvases like bizarre puzzles. Whenever I come to his workshop, I ask the question, "What are you reading?" I read only myth and mythology of different peoples, absolutely different epics, mythology, and he writes his own works based on them. He is so unique, he is not like anyone else, and people always compare him with others. Different names are spoken there, Bruegel and these, but you cannot compare Slava with anyone. I was interested in working with him. It was interesting in his studio. It was interesting to ask him questions. Slava is generally a private person. He is not a party-goer. He does not go anywhere. He stays at home and works. More often, there are not less than 10-15 sheets in a folder. I'm constantly working and I just put away those things that are finished, graph in the folder. I paint a lot and so often, and some of them remain unfinished. They can stand for a year. Then I take out and add everything. Gradually, with age, I like to sit quietly, because when I do this, I also listen to books, audiobooks. I switch on and sit at the table. A painting requires movement. It is necessary to walk around the shop, move, run, and it is very hard to concentrate. But I have a very similar technique, that in the graphics, that in the painting. I would not define my painting as a pure painting. It is also graphic, it is also conventional. At the Jubilee exhibition dedicated to the artist's 55th anniversary at the Kosteyev Museum, 60 works were presented, graphics and painting. Almost all of them were finished in a few months specifically to the opening day. Images, themes, plot, series demonstrate the diversity of artistic technique and creative thought of the master. Here we see the recognizable Kazakhstan landscapes, as in the picture Fisherman and the Tiger. The slow flow of the river, so similar to Ili River, the familiar snags on the shore, and the tiger coming from the reeds, as a reminder that once they were strong and beautiful animals. But the picture Runaway Bride, recognizable park of the culture and recreation, TV tower as a symbolic axis of Almaty, and then unicorns, a symbol of purity and chastity. Where and from whom the bride runs, everyone will decide for himself. And this is a work from the series Cities. We see Almaty, a city by the mountains, young Astana, which is only getting its expressive outlines, and the train that connects these cities, and at the same time, an era. Trippic gold, the attractive metal of all times and peoples, a symbol of power. On its creation, the alchemists of the Middle Ages fought because of the war did not flare up. The history of this canvas is interesting. That's Samad Chukubayev. He gave me a book called Gold, amazingly published book, and about the gold from the standpoint of not only Mendeleev's table, what it is, but also there is a mythology and some products, history. It is so popular in general, but I found some encyclopedic stuff. I looked up in the internet. The theme is simply wonderful, amazing. And so I tried to do this work at the page level from the encyclopedia. The structure of this work cannot be said that it is picturesque. There is almost no color, but this is a page from the encyclopedia. Imagine such a huge encyclopedia with such huge leaves, and in this work I try to talk about God. The world tree, the tree of life, is one of the deepest and most capacious symbols created by human civilization. In Vyacheslav Liu-Ko's interpretation, the image of the tree is loaded not only with religious and philosophical content, by directly refers to daily routine existence of modern man. The central work of this exhibition is Return to the Tree, where we see a huge spreading tree with a huge crown, on which there are already many different cultures, representatives of humanity. And this tree symbolizes all of us, our whole world. And people come from all sides to this tree, like those people who are looking for their sources, and in the end come to the thought that we are all come from the same source, and we are all relatives to each other to some extent, and our cultures in some degree are related. Although among these people we see those people who cut the branch on which they sit, and from some other person a new tree grows, a new civilization. And this is all philosophical, such multifaceted, multi-figure philosophical searches. They appear in the paintings of Vyacheslav Liu-Ko. We constantly meet sustainable images in the works of the master: boats, fish, birds, grass. The tree is one of the main images of Vyacheslav Liu-Ko. We see a wonderful forest in a painting called Transition. The river flows in the arms of the branches, perhaps the mythical Styx that takes us to the other worlds, or river of time connecting the past and the future. But frightening, almost fake trees from the canvas, the story of reed pipe. They are a tenacious cobweb, holding humanity in their bare branches, and do not leave a chance to take a step to the side, to go their own way. In his art, the signs of all art are considered throughout the whole of civilization. Since ancient Egypt, modern painting is felt. The painting of the Renaissance is felt, etc. He stands in my view, not for a pathetic speech, shoulder to all the great artists. Bosch, Bruegel, Leonardo's fantasies, and I can enumerate so long, but it is enough to name them. His fantasy interferes with realism, it interferes with the time social. Because look, in one picture the people of the Middle Ages are playing on the violin. And in the same frame we see today's people grilling shish kebabs and owing the car. And it is very natural. He does not have time. He has a huge genetic memory of all that was before him. And his imagination is pushing us into the future. That's roughly the scale of this artist. Vyacheslav Liu-Ko is a man of the world, because in his consciousness, in his personal world, there are no boundaries at all, and therefore he so easily moves from one country to another, from one epoch to another, and he connects all these, and then you will see such an image of humanity. Of course, this is primarily his image. Each of his pictures is himself. This is what he thinks about, this is what excites him, and he composes such wonderful world, and so intriguingly he does, that I have not seen a single viewer who would remain indifferent to his exhibition. He makes you look at the more incomprehensible picture. The stronger this feeling is, the easier to understand this meaning, to penetrate into this meaning. These are riddles, and they do not always have the answer, but they always contain very interesting questions. And the main question, of course, is the philosophical question. Who are we? Where are we from? Where are we going? In his work, our contemporary, Kazakh artist Vyacheslav Liu-Ko bravely enters into dialogues with great predecessors. He is not afraid to rise eternal topics, and his talent and diligence are faithfully companions on this difficult path, the path of creative knowledge.